Music is all around us. It is the universal language. It evokes many feelings and is something to be shared and celebrated. You have found a place where all kinds of music will be celebrated. So welcome. You are tuned in to the Zen Sessions, presented by Here to Zen magazine.
Today on the Zen Sessions, we have Australian singer-songwriter Karly Jewell. How you going, Karly?
Good, thanks. Thanks so much for having me.
So I want you to tell everyone about you and the band Karly Jewell to start with.
Okay, so we are based in Melbourne, four-piece. We have drummer Mars Marcos, guitarist Adrian Kluck, and Dave Beaton on the bass. He's a boss. Adrian actually joined us probably a couple of years ago. He started filling in, and I was like, guys, he's got this sound, and, you know, love playing with him, and he just became full-time, and he was the missing piece, and now, you know, it's exciting. Adrian's the music when he plays guitar, so he's really bringing something special to us, you know, giving us even a new sound that's growing forwards, you know, how music's a journey, you know, it's your soundtrack to your life. So, yeah, that's who we are. We're a rock band. Me as an artist, I am multi-genre.
Yeah.
But, you know, I did find my home fronting a rock band, but we do have those elements of every genre kind of comes in there, because I write from feeling. And I guess everyone comes from, you know, what inspires them, and we just kind of bring it together. So very lucky to, you know.
Yeah, and you come from a really rich musical history. You know, people can go read it on the net, but I think you telling the story of how you became who you are is far better coming from you. So can you tell us about your pop and growing up in the country music scene?
Yeah, so I was really lucky to grow up with my grandparents, and my grandfather had a studio at home, and he was a songwriter. You know, and even now, like, I'm just discovering how huge my grandfather was in the Australian country music scene. Not only on a worldwide base, because everybody all over the world loved Slim Dusty, and, you know, it's absolutely an honor to say I know that man that wrote for him and all these great artists, you know, in country music, and, you know, also creating the Australian Music Festival. So the first one was early 80s in up near Wentworth, and, you know, my pop got it going and then decided he didn't want to be a part of that, you know, and he had like all these big artists come, like John Williams and Chad Morgan, and you name it, all the country stars were there. You know, so we got that up and happening, and then the next one started, and then Tamworth, and, you know, it just went all over. So that's something to be very proud of, and you know, I one day will hold my own festival. I believe that's something that I want to work on, because I feel like that's in my blood. You know, if my grandfather can do this, I think I definitely want to start my own festival. Maybe a recovery one for all my Melbourne musician family that I have here, and we can rock out and do something huge. And, you know, that would be cool. So, yeah, you know, I grew up around that and had watched, you know, my pop write songs from the minute I could be in that studio with him. I was just there my whole life. I don't know how he did so many demos with me always being in there, pestering him and talking. You know, he had a 4-tracker, and those things are so hard to use. Like, I have all of that stuff from my pop studio. I was left all that when he passed away, and, you know, I'm going to learn how to use it all. And, you know, you can't just go back and delete things and do stuff and use magic, you know, like we do on Pro Tools and stuff. It's the real deal. It's the hard work, you know. So I'm pleased that I have that background and all of that. But, you know, I started standing in front of my grandfather when I was 3 years old, you know, playing the top 2 strings on his guitar. And then when I was 5, you know, he got me a guitar and kind of gave that to me as a diary, you know, and I guess he seen what kind of person I was from a very young age. Like I was very sensitive and, you know, I take everything to heart, I guess. And, you know, I'm that kind of person that cries a lot. I think that there is a song on my album called I Won't Cry, but every time I sing that, I do cry. You know, it's just such an emotional song, and the people that come with me, we've all been through something together, and, you know, we cry together every time we sing that song. I've got people that come to my shows that, you know, we're a family now and they've lost people, and I think that song really brings us back together. And yeah, I can't help but cry when we do this. We all cry together.
Sure.
You know, so I was just really honored, and, you know, I think my grandfather may be the most humble man I've ever had the honor of meeting. I don't think I'll ever meet anyone like him again. I don't even think he knew how big he was, like just changing the sound of country music. You know, when he was writing for Slim, he brought in a new sound for him, you know, and I think it was Slim, or maybe his wife had said, you know, they were a little bit worried about the sound, but, you know, he trusted my pop, and that got him one of the highest selling albums, you know, ever in Australian country music, and onto the ARIA charts, and, you know, and it got him writing for big artists. And I think that's just in my blood, you know, to write. I can't help it. It doesn't matter what I do, that will be who I am.
Do you remember the first song from when you were a kid that sort of really hit you and you felt the emotion of music?
It was Don't Take Your Guns to Town by Johnny Cash. My pop used to sing that, and he would deliver that with it was just very he could sing a song like it was his own, because he connected so well to, you know, those songs that he sang. So, you know, hearing his songs and you know, other songs that he just used to sing along, like he loved Johnny Cash, and you know, it was listening to that song and just watching him play guitar that just kind of, I guess it just lit that fire up, you know. And I'd say to my pop, you know, I could hear him singing and recording his demos, and my grandfather was a police officer, so I believe that my grandfather may have had PTSD over years of just seeing, you know, so much trauma being a police officer. And one of his biggest songs that he wrote was Rose Beside the Highway, and it was about a car crash, and he found a 3-year-old girl on the side of the road, and her parents, you know, were passed away and from the car crash. And that affected him so much that I actually found a diary amongst all his stuff after he passed away. And he said that, you know, his songwriting was just kind of his escape, and it helped him deal. So I think that's where I get that emotion from. And I picked that up and realized that, you know, writing songs is like writing in a diary. You know, it's so personal, but it's how it gets you through sometimes.
We'd probably say he's your biggest influence, but as you came into your own as a songwriter, who were the artists that really inspired you to go into the rock field and sort of carve your own path?
Well, it was definitely when I was, so yeah, I grew up around country music, and I used to go to my mum's on the weekend, you know, and I'd listen, she'd have her, you know, radio blasting on a little stereo, whatever it was, and I'd hear Joan Jett and like AC/DC, and, you know, my mum would be smoking ciggies and listening to stuff. And I used to watch Rage as a kid, you know, and I was like, man, like it felt badass. Like, this is rock and roll, you know, like it was like that little I'm breaking the rules kind of thing, you know. And so I'd hear that, you know, when I'd go and stay at my mum's, and it was really kind of like AC/DC, Joan Jett, Guns N' Roses when I was a kid that I'd listen to, and I was just like, wow, you know. And I used to go over to the grandstand as a 5-year-old and take my cousin and make him stand in the middle of the oval so I could sing out, you know, all the rock songs I'd been listening to on the radio, make him like applaud me, pretending it was thousands of fans, you know. So I think those songs, you know, inspired me. But and then when I was, you know, I think I was like 13, there was, you know, like the skateboard kids at school, and they were right into like, you know, heavy metal and death metal and all this stuff. And you know, I discovered John 5 as a guitar player, and I heard the, you know, all the guitar work in Sweet Dreams, and I was instantly a fan. And I was like, I was having piano lessons actually in Wentworth at the lady that used to play at church, and you know, she was teaching me all the classical music and stuff like that. And I had an acoustic guitar and a little keyboard at home. And when I heard that, I was like, I'm saving all my pocket money and I'm buying an electric guitar. So it definitely like pulled me to that. And I was very inspired as a teenager. Also, you know, growing up around that country scene was Casey Chambers. Like, she's probably one of my biggest idols. And it was from when I was 16, I started writing. I was like, one day I will write her a song. And that has never left my mind. Like, if I can write a song and get to her, that would be my absolute dream. You know, I absolutely loved her style of writing. Some people think it's too morbid, but what I find in that is that it's real. So when people say, like, who are your biggest idols, I'll say, Casey Chambers, like, you know, Marilyn Manson's kind of music. I'm not really impressed at him at the moment, you know, with all this stuff. Blew me away being such a huge fan, like, my whole life. And then, you know, seeing this, it's just like, I've stepped back. But, you know, it was John 5 that I listened to. He, you know, those things. And as I got older writing, like even in the early 20s, I realized like how amazing like George Michael is and David Bowie. Like, they would just shift through genre and kind of release whatever they wanted. And I guess that was like built my confidence to just, I can do whatever I want. I don't have to just do rock music. Just because I do my rock band so well doesn't mean I can't open all these other doors. And it's been the most incredible thing, not listening to people saying, just stick to this, because I have got to work with the most incredible artists, you know, ever, just because I'm a songwriter and I've got a feeling and I've got that love for every genre. Like, I'm very inspired by music itself, I guess.
And with your music, your last album, Phoenix, is, well, for me, it's about a year old now. I was lucky enough to get introduced to you by one of our team, Sebastian, who's a friend of yours and a big fan of your music. I've got to say, I've said to a couple of people, I've said it to you as well privately, that it's a stayer. In today's world of disposable music, and a lot of it is disposable. You can do it in your lounge room and have it on Spotify the next day. You can tell the care that went into making that record. You can tell that the songs were important. So, like, congratulations on the fact that you've actually made an album that is going to live beyond you. And how do you feel about it now it's had the time to be out in the world?
Firstly, thank you so much. Like, it's very hard to, you know, it's only ever the greats that have those timeless songs, like, you know, that you listen to years later and they're still playing, and it's just like, wow, every time you hear it, like like a big Michael Jackson hit or a big George Michael hit or something, like, that's a huge honor to even have touched that a tiny bit with people. The album's still being discovered, and especially now we have released Dancing with the Devil. It's taking people that didn't know back to the album, and they're like, there's a whole album, you know. And I never felt any pressure. A lot of people, from the minute they seen us play, they were like, where's the album? Where's the album? I mean, I played live shows like a maniac, you know, for like 8 years solid before I released anything, because I was like, no one knows who I am. And I want to do this right. And, you know, who cares? Some people, it takes 5-6 years to do like an EP, and they're the best songs you'll ever hear. You know, that's what happened back in the day. They took 10 years to record a record. So, you know, to play for 9 years, and then we smashed out that album in 3 months. You know, we didn't have a deadline, just let's record an album. Now it's time. Like, I just knew now. And, you know, when I finished recording, I went back to the car and I cried for nearly an hour. I couldn't even drive home. I just couldn't believe it was done. And, you know, each song was a story, you know, and it was real life. And I wanted to introduce myself and then Mars and Dave and Nick, and Nick's no longer with us, but he was a big part in our music, and I was so thankful because no one could have delivered that like he did. You know, he knew the feeling of the songs, he knew where it come from. It was incredible to work with him, and he's off doing huge things with his band and solo stuff. So very proud of him. You know, and now we have Adrian with a new sound, and it's moving the journey forwards. And as we grow as a band, and you know, it's touching new sounds, and I think it's incredible. Very, very lucky to have the people that have been involved in the album, and you know, it's huge. But yeah, in saying that, like the album, you know, it's being rediscovered now, and I was worried recording a whole album. Like just before we released Dancing with the Devil, I was a little bit worried that like maybe the third track and the fourth track might have been lost, you know, or one towards the end, because I didn't do them, you know, one after another like as a single. So I approached this year, and I say this year because I'd like to do an album every year, an album's worth at least, you know, to just have something to just smash out into the world every month, because we're constantly growing and changing and writing new songs. And I think, you know, I want to share that with the world. And at the end of the year, you know, put it on a nice vinyl. It's a dream to own my own vinyl. We didn't do it with the Phoenix album. We thought like the CD was the best thing. I definitely needed CD growing up around country music. It was the most important thing when I would go to, you know, festivals and these events with my grandfather, that I would actually get given a CD by someone, you know, that they'd signed or wrote thank you on. And that was the biggest thing. And for me growing up around all those country artists, like they have a really strong, you know, music family around them. And I mean, they can sell posters for $10, and they can do that. I think country artists are the only people that can make thousands of dollars off posters.
Yeah.
They still do it now. I don't know. They just do it, you know, but it was that connection that they had with people. So I definitely, you know, didn't just do digital. I needed something that people could see my appreciation. Like I couldn't do this without them.
Sure. But speaking of vinyl, you are on the upcoming compilation from our buddy John at Rue Morgue Records that'll be out.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of people probably don't know that John's a one-man band in his record label. How important is what someone like John and Rue Morgue is doing for the local Australian industry, do you think?
He is such an incredible person. Like the passion that he has for music, his story on his own, you know, like why he's doing this, and to be recognized like on a worldwide scale is huge. I'm completely honored. I'm speechless. There's something else in the works, you know, that I can't say that John's behind, and I can't thank him enough. Like, you know, and when I do, I feel obliged. I have to thank him for every other Melbourne musician that he works with, because I want to make sure he gets you know, all those good things. Yeah, to be on that album. Sorry. He had not heard Dancing with the Devil and asked about putting a new track on the record. And, you know, he said it was a vinyl, and I said, I'd love to. I said, well, you know, we're recording. He said, yep, I'll take that song. And I was like, you haven't heard it yet. So as soon as we finished recording with that Matt, I sent it. And he said, of course I have to have it. I think on the volume 1, there was also a song called, I think it was called Dance with the Devil by another band. So I said to John, well, you're going to have to definitely do like 6 of these records and call the 6th one like the 666 and put all the devil tracks.
Perfect.
He's like, I might have to do that.
Knowing John, he's probably already got, you know, the artwork and a couple of bands lined up that far in advance. He's a forward thinker when it comes to promoting, and the Aussie metal scene's pretty lucky to have someone as ballsy as him just to go at it.
Oh, I think, you know, what I've learned also, like, especially, you know, people talk about music industry and all this stuff and record deals. And what I realized is like, I guess having that hard work behind me, where I haven't ever had anything given to me. Like I've really had to work hard, and I didn't know what I was doing in Melbourne. I didn't know anyone. And, you know, I had to do this work, and I'm still learning. And there's now, like, you know, even every release is getting easier, and like, just knowing, you know, what you have to do. Like it's hard work, but you know, in doing that, like it's just, oh, I'm mind blown. John is also doing something, you know, like not only like doing a single, you know, with my song on it, but there's something special on the other side, which I can't tell anyone what we're doing yet, but it's going to be very, very insane. Like, I just think, yeah, it just, you know, I realized that you don't have to have, you'll never get people just saying, oh, you know, like we're going to tour the world, like, you know, like Motley Crue and all these Guns N' Roses, these big record deals. That doesn't happen. And there is no music industry. You have to create your own. People worry about it or how to be a part of it. There is none. You make your own. There's nothing stopping you. And this is what John has as well. Like John Raptis is just get it done. Like, you know, there's no one to do it. Let's do it. And I'm the same, you know, like before COVID, I was like, you know what, we're going to Japan. So I booked in a full tour to Japan. You know, we had this conversation at rehearsal. Adrian said, you know where you might go well with this sound is in Japan. I said, yeah, no worries. So I come home and I messaged Mark, you know, my manager, and I was like, we're going to Japan, Mark, you know, and we booked we had 9 shows booked in 11 days. So it was going to be non-stop, you know, a nice little run starting in Osaka to the last place and then heading back. And, you know, I found bands that I could tour with, and, you know, we had it all happening, and I contacted you know, Chris Peters from Heavy Music, because I knew he'd done some tours over there with bands, and we had it all sorted in 24 hours. And I think that's what artists need to do. Like, there is no industry to be a part of. You need to create your own. And this is your journey, nobody else's. You've just got to go for it.
You mentioned Dancing with the Devil. It's a new single, new video. Tell me about the process for writing the song. The emotion, the feeling, tell me about it.
So, you know, I'm one of these people that I really listen to everything. I guess every day, even when people talk to me, it's like songwriting. You know, I take that all in. You know, just speaking is music, really. Anything you say right now, I could turn it into a song because you're just saying it how it is, you know, just as simple as an interview. So I take everything in, you know, and just watching the news and listening to just shit in the world, and then just having my own, you know, moments in the dark. And I kind of just had like a meltdown at home, you know, and like I probably was like stuck in my room for like 3 days, and I just cried and I cried, and for no reason at all, you know, it was something that I was in the dark, and I was like, I don't let this in. Like I had that moment, that conversation with myself, like, I'm letting this in, you know, and I won't let you in because you are my superpower and I own you. So I took that, and I just kind of stood up and I was like, I know how to dance. Like, I know how this goes, you know, and it was just it can be from anything that happens to you. It doesn't matter. Like, you're the one that lets this in. And when you realize that you are the boss, then you take the lead, you know? So that was the process. And I quickly jumped on like, I don't know, I whipped up like a keyboard app and some bass stuff and made a drum track and wrote that song in probably like 10 minutes. And then I sent it to the guys that night, and I was like, I've got a new song, Dancing with the Devil.
Fantastic. And the video is insane. Tell me about who did the treatment for the video? It's nuts.
That was me and my weird head, because when I write a song before it even happens, like as the melody is coming to me and stuff, like I already have a picture. I'm one of these people, like I see colors and I see this and I see that. You know, we actually did a film clip, when was it? January, I think, before the whole COVID thing. And, you know, I was really happy with the video, but I felt it was just missing that more of that darkness. Like, I really had to connect in that video. So, you know, having that time, you know, to think about it, and that was great, actually. So we went back and did a whole new film clip, and I wanted to use what we'd done in the previous one to bring it in. So I could really bring that what happens in people's minds and how to capture that and make it your, your superpower, effect in there. And that was the whole idea of having, the guy in the wall in the picture where he comes to life, because I'm the boss, and being just surrounded by these, kind of people or whatever, like demons, is known as depression, but I'm the boss, So yeah, I really love working with Daniel and Rom. Like, they just kind of let my mind run free and help me bring those visions to life. And yeah, it was such a big day, and I was really happy how it came out. And yeah, it was the next level for us as well. I had to really work hard on, the only competition is with myself. So how do I make it better from the last one and the next one, so yeah, it was different for us, but definitely in the right direction. So
I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but you've got some sort of defined plans for how you want to take the band 2021 and beyond. And, you talk about vinyl, you talk about everything. How are you guys going to achieve that end result? Like, are you going to do EPs? Are you going to do singles? What's the plan?
We're definitely going to do single after single. And then at the end of the year, have those tracks and put them on a nice vinyl for people, and put it on, a whole record at the end of the year for digital, so they're all together. Just pick the best songs. I mean, I've got 16 songs written, so I guess we're just going to start smashing them out.
Yep.
And, I never worry about not achieving that goal, because, I mean, we recorded our album when it comes to the crunch. We had no time limit, but then when we did, we were given 3 months by Hitman Records. They wanted it out by June. We just smashed through it. And they were worried as well. But I mean, we write these songs, we know these songs. They're not technical at all, really, when it comes to the writing part of it. I mean, they are obviously how they play, but because we just let them fall into place, nothing's pushed or nothing is thought about. They just are what they are. And I think that's also how we kind of capture those different feels in these songs as well. And I mean, when we got into Matt's studio, like, our aim was for, like, we'll do 2 this weekend. They ended up doing, like, they smashed down 4 solid tracks, and then the next time they did the next 3, and then I just went in there and just started vocals and just smashing them out. And then we went back in and did a retouch on, nice little guitar bits and extra whatever we felt we could hear that wasn't there. And so, I'm not even worried about that. Like, the plan is for me, I know I can, do an album a year quite easily, because I write all the time. I've got my guitar with me now today. I was trying to practice 1 song acoustically and wrote 2 songs. So I'm working on sending that to another artist that I worked with previously. I'm getting something happening. So I wrote 2 songs today, basically.
That's great. And you guys are really active with your social media. We're forced to use our social media a little bit differently at the moment, because we're not going out to gigs. We've really got to be clever with how we use our social media. So how would you, what advice would you give to, say, a young artist getting out there, about how to use social media to their advantage without overdoing it or underdoing it?
Yeah, I mean, just be real. I mean, if you're working on this stuff, like, share that journey, connect with people. And I think you've really got to, when you connect with people, you have to be real, and you have to, like, support them as much as they support you. You can't be all about you. But it's very important. Like, for me, just even through Facebook, I have connected with artists, and things have been made possible that I wouldn't even dream of, just by meeting people on social media. Like, in 2014, I ended up in Vegas, nominated for an up-and-coming rock band, because we were working with a producer. Now, that producer, that he'd seen a video that I did acoustically from my kitchen, and was like, I want to work with you. You know, and I looked at this guy, and he'd toured with Dokken, and, you know, like, he was from Mahogany Rush and such a huge artist. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I don't think I even have the money to work with you. I was like, at the time, I was like, I'm just a kid that works at a servo. Like, and he's like, well, it's your lucky day. He's like, I don't want anything. I know where that song is from, and I want to play piano. And Claudio actually played piano on September. He was a cancer survivor, and he knew I'd written that song about my grandmother who passed away from cancer. And yeah, I mean, that was possible with social media. You know, I want people to see who I am. And, you know, I do a lot of videos from my bathroom because it's, you know, acoustics, but it's real. Like, I'm not trying to be a musician. I'm just being me. And, you know, and that's my story. And I use it to connect. And, you know, it's a lot of people complain about, you know, Spotify. And I think it's unfair that, you know, artists put all this money and they get like 3 cents, you know, at the end of the year. But in the same time, you can use that to your advantage for the songs that, you know, you've released, and you've got bigger ones coming. Like, get it out there, use it wherever you can, because people from all over the world are going to discover you that couldn't have any other way. So it has big advantages at the same time as, you know, disadvantages with Spotify and how people get played. You know, so I think, yeah, I mean, if you've got something cool coming up, jump on that. I mean, it's where the whole world went to. I didn't jump on the path of doing live shows. I supported as many live shows, you know, that did go live on Facebook and all those kind of things and the events. But for me, I chose not to because, I mean, they did amazing jobs, but I just feel like that connection is lost, and I'm a very connected kind of person. So I want to be in a room with people crying, not through a screen.
Yeah, sure.
Because I like to cry.
Okay, so tell me about some of your songwriting process. And you shared something with me a little earlier about one of your favorite places to get inspiration for your melodies.
Yeah, I mean, they just hit me anywhere. I don't really know where they come from sometimes, because sometimes it's not always a feeling, they just appear. And I think that's why songwriting is such a deeper level than some people realize. I mean, I honestly feel like my soul writes some of these songs, because then I need to spend weeks writing them down and learning them, and I forget them, and I like the words, and they're like, you wrote it, you should know it, but it's like I've got to learn it, because they just fall into place sometimes. I don't know. I don't really know. And I'm not one of these people that like sits there and thinks about a concept and like, I'm going to write a song about that. It kind of just isn't in the moment. I think that's why I write so many songs. I guess everything around me is songwriting constantly, you know?
Yeah, sure. And you mentioned this special place where you tend to hear your melodies.
At Woolworths, the fresh food people in the fruit and vegetable section.
It's fantastic. Like you said, you might want to do an intro tape for them.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's because like I'm around like living, well, I guess it's dead plant, but you know, it's like that earthly kind of vibe that it gives off. I'm not sure.
It's still good. It's all good to get it from where you get it. And any kind of thing you want to share with anyone with the new single release, the upcoming plans for 2021, just any final words for everyone out there?
Oh, look, you know, I would just love for everyone to check it out. Dancing with the Devil has the video clip. It's on all the digital, like, you know, platforms where to check it out. And yeah, we just love people to check it out and also check out the album. And, you know, but Dancing with the Devil, like, it takes a long time to find yourself as an artist, I guess. And people like, you know, find your sound, but that can take, you change, your sound is like always changing because new things are happening. We're not a set sound because obviously we would go off feeling, you know, as I'm really strongly, because I think it's the best way to evolve. Otherwise you just stay stale if you're stuck on the same thing. You know, you don't want to be that band putting out album after album or song after song that always sounds the same. I mean, it's good to have that that signature sound. Like, I definitely am very thankful that we have a unique sound that's signature. Like, Someone asked me recently what's so different about you guys, and I guess it's because we have that signature sound, and I'm lucky. I didn't think I could ever sing. When I was a kid, I thought I was like shit, but I was really inspired by Dolores from the Cranberries. Like, she had such a unique voice, and I was like, oh wow, I can do that. So I don't even know what I'm doing most of the time. I don't read music or know shit about shit, but I just know I've got like weird tones and stuff that I can do with my vocals. So I found my voice. That's the most important thing. Find your voice, and then let the music come along with that.
We'll leave it at that for tonight. We'll make sure that when the Rue Morgue Records comes out, we'll pump that one for you, and we'll get everyone on board with every single that comes out. Make sure you send them our way, and we'll let everyone know about it.
Oh, I'll definitely send it. You're always on the top of the list where to send new stuff when it comes out. So you guys have a good following, and know that, people know that you put out good stuff and get the good stuff heard. So it was really an honor to talk to you tonight. And, thank you so much also for seeing that timeless ability in this album that we released, and, kind of, picking up on the message in Dancing with the Devil. It's really good to hear. So thank you so much for having me. And yeah, if everyone can check that out. And April, we have the single coming from Rue Morgue, and there's going to be a nice surprise on the other side. It's a B-side, but I'm not telling anyone what's on it yet. But just jump on all the socials. We're quite active on there, and we love sharing all that stuff. The band pages, kind of like more behind the scenes, that the people that have come to all the shows, and that's where our family's based, and jump on there and check it out and join the Karly Jewell band family.
Awesome, Karly. We'll talk to you later on, and hopefully we'll see you in Brizzy soon.
Yeah, we wanted to come up there, and yeah, the world was falling apart. Sorry, but our plan is now we're stuck in Australia, and we're just gonna go everywhere we can to get the music heard, and create our family and make it bigger in Australia.
Fantastic. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks so much.
See you, Karly.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Zen Sessions presented by Here to Zen magazine. If you are listening to us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. If you are listening on one of the podcast platforms, please subscribe there. And don't forget to follow Here to Zen magazine on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.